Always want to see no edge. I'll show you what I mean. That 55 who got absorbed at 625, that's thick enough to trade against if you wanted to micro scalp it. It's going to move lower at least a tick. I would hold it for two ticks. There's the first tick, there's the second tick. That all came from that 55 right there. But that's not what I meant to say. See the, because I don't micro scalp, see the 72 at 5 even? We come lower, somebody immediately spoofs on the Q pulling, somebody immediately spoofs 72 at 5 even. And instead of price moving up or buyers hitting into 6 even, into 6 even and being absorbed by passive sellers, some sort of a Q liquidity game, we don't even move lower. We just hold an auction here. In fact, value sits lower, which is kind of a weak indicator. And then we go back up to 0575 in the Q pulls. So what that tells me is I wanted to say the market is weak because it didn't interpret that order as a sign of strength. But look at the Q. I mean, not the Q. Look at the inside prints at 550, 75, and 6. They're all equal except for 625, where the initial move started. So the auction started up here at the expense of this guy. We plunged lower and then filled liquidity here, and then we had a spoof there that should have either pulled price down for a market seeking liquidity, or that should have pulled it down for a market seeking liquidity, or pushed it up, but we just sat there, meaning prices at fair value. This is fair value uh, in the time span of what would appear to be immediate. It's immediate fair value. This is fair value right now. What that means is this is exactly what shouldn't be traded because there's no edge to exploit here. There's nobody to trade against because there isn't any order flow discrepancy. Right. Now the question is the market weak or strong if 55 hits at 6 even and it plunges lower? That definitely means it's reactive sell side, so it should be interpreted as weakness, I'm sure. If we can shake it, we can shake out of that auction. But 575 is where the auction took place, and that's exactly what happens. Somebody stacks from 50 to 92 at 6, and price gets down to 50, I believe. Yeah, off of that order right there. Now, what I'm looking for is for this to push price down to 5 even, and then I'm looking for sellers to hit in and be absorbed into thick liquidity at the end of this LVN, low volume node, and then for price to reverse. They stack again, 53 and 84, and then you want to see people front run in the queue, 27, 28. I don't watch the queue much. 12, still 30. They're stacking up now, pushing lower. This flash is 27 shortly, but what I'm watching now is the inside prints. 27 now, 32, 33. So there's a 3 to 1 discrepancy there. I want to see them hit the prints again, 37, 35. And then Order flow becomes responsive, I believe, after somebody spoofs 52. Did that order pull? 84 down, 575. The order pulled. We stay lower for a short period of time. Price moves up a tick, and then another tick. So they're weighing now at the low of day. When they were insensitive to the spoofer, they're now sensitive to the spoofer. Value is right here, right? Where this order is going to pull, it's most likely going to speed up and slow down right there. I wish I could clear the inside prints, but I'd have to replay the tape. So this did nothing. When we were up here, this did nothing. Now that we're down here, it did something. And not only did, and the weakness of the market or the weakness of this auction, maybe the spoof that shook us out of the completeness of this auction and pushed price down. Um, that's what it was swayed by anyway. And then somebody pulled, and then the market didn't care, and then it started weighing aggressive buying uh, more than the release of pressure from sellers. Ignore the long. Who cares? You know what I mean? If I could clear the inside prints, this is perfect that I cleared them. Spoof disappears. It's 6. It's 22 now. Well, it was 40. Somebody tries to trade there. It goes from 40 to 25. It was spoofed. And instead of price jumping up, it jumps down for whatever reason. So that tells me the market's weak. Tells me it's really weak, especially after the spoof disappears. It's almost certainly going to run lower here for like a couple ticks off of 53 that hit 575. And that 50 lot that was there holding perceivably holding price up has disappeared. Somebody gets taken to the cleaners there at 44, 450. Now there's an order flow discrepancy. There's a 49 and an 18 compared to a 60. So that's 76 and some change um, compared to the 53 on the bid. And then the people that sold at 450 and 425 are offside now. So if we hold value, it'll just amplify their pain, I think. And the longer a trade is on, the worse a person feels. I'm not saying there's a micro scalper down there at 425 and 450, but it's better just to trade human psychology if you can. Let me make sure I'm not muted. The market is most likely going to adjust. Now we're out of sellers. There's a two-part move there, 450. See how 4 hits? That's fine. We move lower on 4, and then he's absorbed, and then 475. We sit there after 4 is absorbed at 450. I think when the order pulls at 575, we're going to slowly move up to it. You see an aggressive buyer step in. There's still liquidity there, and so this is the ignition part of the move. This buyer throws an 83. There's a financial paper that says market orders begat market orders. There are going to be more buyers after him who chase that 83. The Q is going to recognize that there's heavy buy pressure here after absorption that happened at 450 and 425. There's fuel for the move upward. Both the empty queue of participants who are caught down there and the buyer right there. The queue is going to pull 55 at 575, which is spoofed, is also going to pull, and we're back in the value area. But it's only going to pull because the 83 traded at 5 even. That's what I mean by that's what I mean by ignition. It's that the move is being ignited, and market makers, that's their trigger to pull their orders, so they don't provide one-sided liquidity. I went short tier because it didn't move price up the 113, and we actually see a move lower. I was actually wrong on the first half of this trade. I told you people got absorbed at 450 and 425, but it was only a discrepancy of like 16 contracts. What the most important part is the 116 that got absorbed, which led me to open a short, rightfully so. But then the 53 and the 72, I believe, at 5 and 475, combined with the people at 450 and 425, so it was four ticks of absorption. I get out because it should have moved lower on that person selling. It jumped 2 ticks. Somebody sold and it jumped 2 ticks, meaning it was somebody getting out. Um, that or it was an order that got liquidated, or they just sold, and price didn't move lower. Now we see an aggressive order flow discrepancy that can be exploited much more than all the other ones. The 100 lot being absorbed just means that buyers are going to run out of steam, and that the move will be less big, I suppose, because they got absorbed. Yeah, but that's not really going to matter very much. I'm sure it matters in some context, but the big, most important thing here is the 52 absorbed at 475, then 67, 70, 33. So that's an even bigger discrepancy. And then the order finally pulls on the Q, sell side, and the market doesn't really care. Just kidding, right? So notice the bulk of the move, the orders pulled. That 81 lot I was talking about, the ignition part of the move, it just further emphasizes that I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I have a lot to learn. It's easy to look at tape and say, here's what happened if you already know what happened. Nonetheless, there was still liquidity down there from 525 to 450. One, two, that was 4 ticks. Yeah, 4 ticks of participation on both sides. The 86 and then the 100 lot on the bid. And they got cleared out. They got cleared out. So if there was going to be a move, oh, that's why the move is so empty, I think. See how there's an 11, 31, 12, and then a 6, 7, 25, 8, 25, and 10 on the bid. It's because all the buyers are gone. They bought low side, and so there's an absence of inventory in the profile.